You did.
I'm not that old, but yeah, you did watch me a little bit. I guess you did.
Yeah, in those rainstorms in Seattle. So you've done Seahawks broadcasts before. You're very close to the organization. Russell Wilson said yesterday, he said, listen, I want to play 15 more years. And it sounds crazy, but he doesn't take hits. He spends $1.5 million annually on his body. Warren, I didn't think it sounded crazy. I didn't. I was like, oh, I could see it. Could you?
Well, it's a very lofty goal, no question about it, but that's Russell. I think everybody has really underestimated him since he came into the league as a third round draft pick. So for him to say something like that, you almost have to believe he really means it. I think a lot of people are looking at, what Tom Brady is doing at 43 years old, and they're figuring they can all play into their 40s. I don't think everybody can for different reasons. Russell is a guy who relies on his legs and his feet a lot, especially to get outside of the pocket. Being 5'10.5", it's not like he can just turn his game into being totally a pocket passer like a Brady who's 6'4", or some of the other bigger quarterbacks in the league. He needs to have that scramble ability. And I think when you get closer to 40, you're going to lose a lot of that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's going to be able to play that long, but I could see him playing, another 7, 8, 9 years very effectively. And then after that, it's just you take it a year by year.
So Big Ben said he's been playing with pain for 13 years. And my takeaway is, maybe in your era, but in 2020, when guys make $90 million, I was shocked by that, Warren. I'm like, you got to take better care of yourself. I mean, did that story surprise you?
Well, you got to take Ben Roethlisberger with a grain of salt. I mean, he always kind of exaggerates a little bit of the things that he's going through as far as his pain threshold and that, but I'm sure he's had some discomfort, and he's a guy that hasn't really taken great care of his body over the earlier part of his career. But I'm hoping over the last year, since he was out of the game, he took better care of his body, because they said he lost a lot of weight. He looks really good right now. And that's what you need to do at this stage of your career. I know as I got later into my career, I played at about 223, 224. Then as I got older, around 38 years old, I tried to drop down to about 217, 218, take a little bit more wear and tear off of my legs and my body to create that same quickness that you need. So hopefully Ben is doing the same thing, because he's a big man, and he doesn't need to carry all that extra weight at this age in his career. So hopefully he is in better shape, and he'll be much more effective this year because of that.
You played. You're one of 4 quarterbacks to pass for 3,000 yards in a season at age 40 or older. I don't worry about Tom's arm. It's fine. I mean, Drew Bledsoe's a friend of mine. He's like, I can go out right now and throw spirals. I'm not arm stuff. Right. Aikman, you guys can all go throw a football. I'm not worried about that. Here's what's interesting, though. He's going to have to learn a new playbook. There are certain tendencies which all you guys develop, especially Tom. I mean, these short throws, throwing to running backs. Running back was his best ally last couple of years in New England. Do you worry about now Tom having to throw? This personnel looks like to me, Warren, it's a deep ball roster. These are big throws.
Yeah, there's no question this is a deep ball roster. Throwing the intermediate to deep balls down the field. And when I look at his running backs, Ronald Jones and some of the other guys in the backfield, I don't see them as being great receivers out of the backfield. And that's something he really relied a lot on in New England, is throwing the ball to his backs and to his slot receiver and to his tight end. Now, he does have great tight ends on this team, so I'm sure that's where he'll make a lot of his money throwing the football. But this offense is geared towards getting big strikes down the field. And that's where they got a lot of big strikes under Jameis Winston, but they also had a lot of interceptions because that ball is in the air a little bit longer when you're making those deep throws. So hopefully Tom will be able to adjust to that. Again, he needs those comfort zones of those running backs coming out of the backfield, and the timing is very, very important on those timing routes to those wide receivers out and those running backs out of the backfield. So hopefully he'll be able to get that over time. I don't think it'll happen right at the beginning of the season, but you'll see them improve as the season goes along, the more reps they get together.
So you went from Washington to Canada, where you were a dominant player, and then you went to the NFL. So you were already a pro athlete. You'd seen pro coverages. Now, the CFL is not the NFL, but you were dealing with pro coaches. This was not college anymore. And you also at Washington were a run team, but you had a fairly pro-style offense at Washington. So you were ready for the NFL by the time you got there. Joe Burrow really got a start for 2 years in college, no camp, bad roster, no OTA. He's going to struggle at some point this year, Warren. My question to you is, what will you, as a Hall of Fame quarterback, what will you look for in Burrow as he's struggling against the Ravens and the Steelers? What will you look at and go, oh, okay, I like that. Oh, there's growth there. He's fine even though he's losing. What should I look for?
I think you look for patience. I think to see that if his feet are getting choppy or not, if his feet are staying very calm in the pocket, then you know he still has a good understanding. Otherwise, when you start to see those feet move a lot, you understand that he's getting a little bit nervous. He's not really sure of what he's doing, and maybe the pressure is getting to him a little bit. What I like about Joe Burrow is he's not the typical rookie. He's 23 years old, coming out of college. He was in a pro-style offense at LSU under Joe Brady. So I think he understands pass concepts a little bit better than most rookies coming into the league. He's a little bit more mature than most rookie quarterbacks coming into the league. So that's going to help him. And this Cincinnati roster is not a bad roster as far as his skill set of the guys that he has to throw the football to and run the football. So if Joe Mixon can do well for him in the backfield, take a little pressure off of him with the running game, he does have good wide receivers on the outside. I think he's going to be decent in his first year as long as he continues to improve every week and doesn't get too jittery in the pocket.
Finally, the Ravens players voted to kick Earl Thomas out of the locker room. Most teams have what they call a players' council. And even in your day, if they didn't, you have 4 or 5 veteran players that coaches lean on. And, you were one of them. You ask players, what do you think? How disruptive could one guy be in a locker room? I mean, one guy, like a safety? Like, have you ever been in a locker room and thought one guy, I don't have to mention him, that you thought he's hurting the locker room?
I've been on teams where guys have been disruptive and have hurt the locker room. You call them like a locker room cancer. I think what we've heard about Earl Thomas, of course, he's been a great player for the course of his career. But when he came into Baltimore, and I have a lot of friends in that organization, he wasn't well received there. And there's been probably more things going on within that locker room than even have been reported. Just skirmishes all the time with different players. Fist fights, arguments, being late to meetings, being late to airplanes, just a lot of disruptive things. So I think it just got to a point to where the players said, look, we don't need this on our team, even though he is a great player. We've got other players that we think can step in, but we don't need the disruption and also the controversy in our locker room. So I think that's why they voted to put him out. And that's a big statement when players get rid of a great player on a football team. That is a huge statement. Yeah.
Well, it also shows you the players know they can win regardless, because the talent right now in Baltimore, they are absolutely stacked.
They do have a really good roster, no question about it.
Yeah, and still have a good secondary. Warren Moon, a Hall of Famer, Canada, NFL, 17 NFL seasons. Hope you had a good summer. Your summer been okay?
Summer's been good, getting adjusted to this COVID thing and trying to spend a lot of time with family and get ready for this football season coming up. I'm really excited about it. Hopefully these players can be responsible and do what they need to do when they're away from the facility, because the NFL is going to do everything they can to keep